Hello everybody, welcome to the show. I'm SM SithLord, and this is the weekly build stream going down right here on the streaming channels you are tuned into. I will be dropping into the chat real quick so I don't miss anything today. And then I'll be getting started with making another fully baked room similar to this. Now what we're looking at here is not the most up-to-date version of this bake. When we left off with this build last week, I did a low resolution bake, which resulted in all these little speckles being on everything. But I did a higher resolution bake afterwards off stream, and let's upload that into the WebWorlds SDK here in my web browser running on the Play Canvas engine here in the editor, and make it look nice. So here I have, I believe I made this render out. Somewhere here, I have the bake that I made. So it'd be in 3ds Max, it'd be in scene assets, images. Here it is. Is this it? I believe this is it. Yeah, because that's the old one, and this is the new one. All right, so I have this new version of the texture to upload, and I'm just going to replace the old version of the texture, which will be easy. What is this thing called? It's called Other Room? I don't remember. First Room. Okay. And the material is First Room _ Beauty, which is the same name. So when I drag this and drop that into there, it'll automatically upload it and replace it. And while I'm walking around in here, I bet you that it updates it. So I'm looking at all these speckles and then BAM! And then BAM! It got all weird. Why did it get weird, I wonder? Excuse me. It's obviously because I changed the UV mapping somehow. Ah, yes, I see it. I see that I did. So I have to re-upload this model too. No biggie. I'll just go over here and make sure that I have the right one assigned to it. It looks like I do. That means that I'm ready to export this thing. So I'll do export selected. This thing is called First Room. Maybe it's on my desktop. Excuse me. Where is this? Oh, I need to export it as a GLB. That's why I couldn't find it. And it probably is on my desktop. There it is. Okay. So this replaces the old version, but I need to upload it still. So I need to grab this file on my desktop, drag it and drop it into here. Before I do that, I just want to check my asset tasks here. Okay, we're good. So drag and drop my GLB into here, and it's going to replace the version that I already have in the environment. And this is cool because I shouldn't have to touch anything. It should replace it in place in the scene. There we go. And it should also work over here. There it is. My UV maps are good. You'll notice all of the, well, most of the noise or the glitter is gone because this was it's the same resolution bake, but it's just a higher quality one. I let it do it for like a couple hours. And we are looking real good. And this scene right now has one light, I believe. Yeah, it's got one light, and it's good to have at least one light for a couple of reasons. One, you need to light the avatars, so you either need to have a skybox or a light to light the avatars, because my guy's dark. But also, you'll notice that when the lighting is off, when there's no lights at all, you don't see those specular highlights the same that kind of run across the curved surfaces that really bring it to life. I mean, you see a little bit of them. It's not so bad, actually. But when I turn the light on, you'll notice that there'll be way more of those. Which is nice. So we do want one light. What direction are we facing? This light is facing straight down. Well, that's not what we want. there. Okay, and we probably want 2 lights because we want to light these avatars from the other side also. And that makes our world look super shiny, which is what I want. I want a super shiny looking world here. Maybe not that super shiny. And I'll take that opportunity to throw some color at it too. So one of the lights is blue, the backlight is blue. See how my back is blue, my face is white. If I turn around, my back is white, my face is blue. That's because I have 2 directional lights, a foreground light and a background light. Maybe familiar with the 3 light setup. I would go with that, but I wanted to use as few lights as possible. So right now we're going with 2, and maybe I'll be able to get that to 0 with a cube map later on. But here are the results of last week's build. I don't have this assigned to a parcel yet. To assign it to a parcel, which I'll probably be doing later in the stream today, I go and I make a build, I export a zip of my web world, I upload it, I log into my parcel in Somnium Web, I throw it into the settings panel, and it assigns it to the parcel. Okay, so let's make something new. This art style is good. I made this whole room in just that 2-hour period, give or take. I did spend maybe 4 extra hours off stream working on it, but the workflow is improving, so it should be pretty easy for me to make another room very similar to this, and get as far as rendering the bake out by the end of the stream today in about an hour and a half. Although I'll probably do the bake off stream. And when I say I put 4 hours of work into the other room, I was counting rendering because it was rendering for a good 2 hours. And I couldn't do anything on my computer while that was happening, unfortunately. So I had to go play Nintendo or something. But, okay, we're good. Let's start another room. So, the new room. I could go to AI and generate some concept art, but I might not need that right now because there's a few key concepts that I want to do in the next room just like I did in this room. And the concepts are, I'm expecting to bake the whole thing at a low resolution, so in order to keep VRAM down, I need to have a low resolution texture, and to hide that, I need to use solid colors, because if there was like a brick texture on the wall, you would be able to tell that it was really low resolution, but when it's just a solid color with lighting across it, you can blur it and you can't really tell that it's low resolution. So, solid colors, lots of colors. So solid color textures, lots of colored lighting, and lots of curves, because the curves are what have those specular highlights dancing around, you know, the back's faces there, and you can see the shininess of the different lights on the curves. It really makes it look good. So those are the concepts that we'll be trying to get into this next room that I'm making. I'm not going to physically attach the room to this room yet, but when I do, I'll probably either knock down this hole in this wall and make a little walkway to the next area, or I don't really want to change these doors, this door here, because I like how it looks with the light creeping through it. So maybe I'll spawn people facing this direction, and then you can walk through the entrance door, but if you look behind you, that looks like the place that you came from. So this could be like the spawn point. And then you're going to walk this way into the hallway. That's what we will do right now. We're going to make a hallway that you walk into from this room. And it's going to be a crazy Dr. Seuss looking hallway, and I'm going to try to make it real fast. And we're going to be doing that in 3ds Max, which I already have open over here. Okay, so here's the last room that I made. I'll just go ahead and clone this to use it as a starting point for my next room. Try to center myself up in my webcam there. All right, so this is second room, I'll call it. And now I do want to get my capsule in there. You want to make sure you're making things to scale. Now, here's a note about scale. You could set your units in your editing software to be 1 meter. and that will import 1:1 scale into Play Canvas. Or you could use whatever format you want, as long as your software, like Blender or 3ds Max, it exports your the units properly. Play Canvas will understand it, and it will adjust the scale when you put it in there. So I'm actually using inches as my scale here, which is weird, but it doesn't matter because when it's running in the engine, it's going to be automatically adjusted to be in the engine's native unit. So that's good. Let's make this room. Oh no, we're making the capsule. Okay, this capsule is for human size. You want to be sure that you have appropriately sized doors, stairs, and that kind of thing. So I make a capsule that is 6'2", 6 feet 2 inches, and about yay fat. Like there, a little skinny dude. I'll make him medium. There we go. Okay, so this, I'll make him orange, and I'll call him Gordon Pillman. And he will be what I base the size of everything else off of, because you see he's the right size for the door. It's a big door. He'll go through a door here into this area that I'm about to make. So what is this area? I just need to visualize it in my head a little bit. I want a curved walkway that's veering off to the right 90 degrees, but you're going to walk through it. So this is going to be an area that you walk through. What are you going to see while you're walking through this thing? How about you see, okay, you're walking through a catwalk. I'm just visualizing in my mind. You're walking through a catwalk here. Maybe I'll draw it out so it's not just in my mind. Walking along this thing around here. Okay, now what do you see along the bend? Well, there's a door over here, and can you see directly from here to over there? You don't really need to. If it's only one pathway, people will know what direction to walk. Do I want a skybox? No, no, no. I want abstract things, Dr. Seuss looking light sources as well. We could have a whole bunch of pillars. Okay, I'm going to keep it simple today. I'm going to make a, well, it's relatively simple. It's going to be a curved catwalk going from here to over there, and it's going to have go through a room that has many, many just regular old cylinder pillars, and the lighting will look really fancy, and that will be this room. You'll just walk through it and you go over here. This is a fairly large room, so I'll have to play around with the light map scale and those technical things, but that is going to be the gist of it. So here's how I'm going to do this. First of all, when you walk through here, there's going to be something like this. Okay, and then it's going to go all the way over here to this one, which will also be like this. All of these quarters because I need to align them. Into a curve. It already is a curve, but what I want is to turn both of these and both of these into, well, let's see here. First, these will be turned into smooths. Yeah, we are going for Dr. Seuss. That looks a little Dr. Seussy. These get turned into smooth. And then these are actually going to get turned into Bezier corners. That French dude. And then they will go out like this. Yeah, we're getting weird with it. Okay. And that should pretty much cover the ramp for the most part. So let's see how that goes. This thing we don't need. This thing we do need. It is large. This thing is large. Maybe it's too large. No, it's not too large. I just got to get good with the light bake. So let's get good with this light bake. We're going to do a multi-resolution light bake, which is okay. That means that the outer shell of this room is not going to be as high quality. It's not going to take up as much texture space as other parts of it. Okay, now here, let's extrude this thing. Are we ready to extrude it? Sure. Then we'll editable poly this thing. And bevel it. Okay. We're looking good so far. And now we'll bevel this. I'll worry about that in a minute. That's because of the curvature of this single surface. But I want to just work with it as a single surface right now, and I'll work on making it not so crazy afterwards. But first, I gotta delete some of this stuff. Yeah, I gotta delete that, and I gotta delete that, and then I gotta make this edge go all the way to here, and then we're good. I gotta do the same thing over here. Like that, and make this edge go all the way over here. Okay, we're looking good. Because with that, I can take this, extrude it. Do I want to extrude it or bevel it? Or do I want to do the inverse of that? I want to do these things. Grow. Okay, and now I'm going to extrude these things straight up for little walls. That way you don't just walk right over the edge and fall to your doom. Okay. And then maybe I could bevel these. Oops. To give this a round look. Okay, that looks like it worked. Okay, now let's worry about this weirdness. What the hell is going on here? I know what's going on here. I just need to cut this thing a little bit, and then 3ds Max will be able to figure out the rest. Save a backup copy of this thing. Because I'm about to cut it apart here. Good so far. That's pretty good. It doesn't quite solve all my issues here. That should. Same over here. That solves that. Okay. I gotta do the same thing on the bottom if I'm gonna bake the bottom, and I don't think I'm gonna bake the bottom, so I'm actually gonna select the bottom and delete it. Because I don't need the bottom. This is not a playable area down here, and it's important to cull the surfaces, delete it like I just did, that are in non-playable areas, because the light bake makes texture space valuable real estate. Oh no, that didn't work at all. Try that again. Oh no, that didn't work either. Okay, this thing is being, it's not cooperating with me, so I'm going to delete this thing, and I'm just going to draw these quads again, because this is not hard. So I'm going to click quad, and then I want to make a polygon that goes from there to there to there, there, and then back to here. Wonderful. Let's do a few more of those. What is that thing? I'm not supposed to have a slice there. I messed up somewhere. There. Whew, it's a good thing I caught that. Anything else weird like that going on? No, we're good everywhere else. Okay, disaster averted. Let's recreate that one polygon again. That one that goes from there to there and there. It's a quad. There and then back to there. Good. Now let's do that again. I had to do this to fix the issue of not being able to cut my surface into these nice non-concave, convex, I don't know, the right shape of surfaces. If you've ever made 3D models, you probably know what I mean. There's a certain kind of shape, concave or convex. Easy way to think about it is if there's like a way that water could pool up on the model, then it's concave. If it's convex, then there's nowhere water can pool up on it. Water would just roll right off of it no matter what direction the water was coming at it. You want your quads or your polygons to be that second type, where water would just roll right off of it and not pool up anywhere, no matter what direction what direction the water was coming from. So that's why I had to cut this U shape into these, which is a concave shape, into these convex shapes, But now we're all good now. Here, thank you. I actually have a couple concave shapes still. This still has concaveness to it, and this. But the thing is, I don't need to worry about those most likely, because if the editor is able to display them correctly, when it does this thing called triangulation automatically, when it exports to GLB, it should automatically make these cases. It should be able to sort out these simple cases. This extreme case, it could have messed up on, and it was messing up on even trying to render it. So there's the crash course on concave convex shapes. Most engines prefer convex shapes, especially when it comes to physics simulations and stuff like that. All right, so we got something cool going on here with the bridge going from one end to the other. How about this room? Well, let's see here. Let's throw a smoothing group on this. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's throw our material onto this. Our material is just going to be a standard white material. Okay. And then we're going to want a whole bunch of pillars. In a room that is square. Almost square. Let's draw the shape of this room out, I suppose. Adjust these vertices. This needs to be like this. Now, if I add a couple more refinements to this thing, like something there, something there, and then something here, and then something here, then I can grab these vertices and make them smooth. Yeah, that's no good. Let's go back to what we had before. And we're all good here now. Thank you. Okay, let's align it perfectly, though. Touch our surfaces. Perfect. Okay, so this is going to be our room. Hopefully that's enough room for all these pillars I want to experiment with. Let's move this down. This is going to be a deep room, but not too deep. Deep enough, though, because I want the pillars to look like it fades to black. This would be, I don't know, we'll see how the light turns out. But now it's time to extrude these. We're going to extrude them up. Like so. Now our room is coming together. It is a massive room. Pretty massive, 70 feet tall. That sounds pretty tall. Okay, let me collapse this, and I'm going to flip all the normals so it's an inward facing room. Flip. Okay, looking good. Let's assign our material to this. All right. We got our walkway going from one area to the other. Let's get the doors ready for this. I do believe that I could copy this door. Probably. Okay. I'm just about ready to delete this other room and start doing the lighting over here. And it's about that time. We're about 50 minutes in. But first, let's put this other door over here. These are kind of placeholder doors for now. Okay, let's do these cylinders. Okay, do I want these things to emit light or do I not? I'm thinking not. I think I'm going to have invisible light sources and a bunch of pillars with cool balls on them, like this. Semi-cool balls. Maybe not the coolest. But there'll be balls of different sizes along this thing. And there'll be invisible light sources. Because I'm trying to do this whole thing in 2 hours up to the bake. And there's going to be many rooms to this. Maybe 3 or maybe 2 or 3 more rooms than what I'm making right now. So we got the spawn area, we got the intro walkthrough area, and then there'll be a gathering area and maybe another area or two. Okay, so where's my light sources coming from? I'm trying to visualize this. Let me get a little bit further before I start visualizing. The light could be coming, just very similar to this. The light could be coming from where the pillars meet the ceiling. It could be. And I might do that. Let's get a couple more pillars in here. I think these pillars kind of work. One more, and then I'll start playing with the lighting. Alright, so I'm going to copy over one of these lights here. And then just delete all of them here. And I am going to need more than just floating pink lights sitting in here, but let's see what it looks like. Proceed. Okay, so far so good. Okay, the blurriness is just because that's how the renderer works. It's trying to show me a preview without making me wait a long time. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. I need to see what the more dramatic lighting is how it's gonna impact these. pillars. By more dramatic, I mean the very saturated blues and purples that I'm putting in here. Looking good so far. And how about from the bottom, we have an overwhelming glow. From the bottom, we have an overwhelming yellow glow. No, not yellow. Orange, perhaps. No, we need something cool, a cool hue. I don't know, red is looking alright, actually. Okay, so let me turn off active shade here. Save this. I want to do a preview render. Is this thing going to let me do a preview render? Hey, not too bad. Okay, I think that this is what I will be going for. I'm going to put a whole bunch more of those pillars in here. I'll put perhaps another light where these doors are. I don't know why I don't see my light shining through. Because I do have a light on these doors, do I not? This one's got it. Why isn't it showing the other side? Here we go. Okay, so save that. Go over here and let's make some more of these things. I will be randomizing their balls in a minute. This is the kind of stuff that geometry nodes would be really good at in Blender, because then you could programmatically tell it to vary the size and Y or Z position of each ball automatically every instance. Geometry nodes are some powerful stuff, man. They're one of the main reasons why I want to get good at Blender. I like 3ds Max, but I have, I don't know, maybe there is something like geometry nodes in 3ds Max that I just haven't learned yet. But I see people make amazing things with geometry nodes, and I got the fear of missing out. Okay, now let's move the balls around and stuff. Okay. Now I got all the balls randomized enough. Take another look at the render. Gonna drop some of those colored lights into the other side of the walkway, and then I think I'll be just about ready to build this thing and see how it goes. For the collision mesh, I'm probably gonna make a custom collision mesh here. I don't want to make the collision mesh for this bridge in primitives in the play canvas editor, because it would be difficult to make that shape with primitives. And I don't want to export a collision mesh that has all of the spheres and cylinders as part of the collision mesh, because that's non-player area. The player's never going to collide with that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone my bridge and then adjust the bridge to be a collision mesh. And that's the collision mesh that I'll use. It'll probably be the whole room minus all the pillars, actually. But moving forward, let's get the lighting done and get this bake going. So I had really bright red light here, which was setting the base mood. Let's get more of that around here. The base mood for underneath the walkway. So how is that looking now? Okay, and then I dropped the blues and pinks in there, and I should start getting the kind of vibe that I want. Kinda. I probably have too much red, and that's why it's drowning out all my blues. So let's get rid of one of these reds here. That red. How's that look? It doesn't. That's not good, actually. No, let me bring back that red. That's good. Instead of doing that, I don't know. Let's make these blues more vibrant. Some of them, at least. Like this guy, we'll make one. And you. We'll make you one also. And you. Make you one. And we'll see how bright that makes everything. It makes the stuff really bright, but I'll allow it. Let's move on and get some pinks over there, and then do the UV unwrap, and then we're just about ready to bake. All right, let's rock and roll, man. We got about 50 minutes to do the UV unwrap and get everything set up to begin to bake. That's doable. I will delete this guy, and it's time to UV unwrap. And No, it's time to merge and purge some stuff here. I could do that. Merge and purge. You're going to be merging everything into one mesh eventually. But first, let's start with these. Merging all of these because there's something in particular that I want to do to them. I want to delete their surfaces that are on the top and the bottoms. The caps. So let's make sure that I selected all of them properly somehow. Yeah, there we go. Now, since they're all merged, I'm going to select the top surfaces here and delete them. Then select the bottom surfaces and delete them. Now we're purged there. We're almost fully purged. There's a couple more places to purge only. That's not it. The couple more places are on the ramp or the catwalk. That doesn't need to be there, and that doesn't need to be there because that's flush against the surface. Same thing for the other side. That doesn't need to be there, and that doesn't need to be there. And now we are nice and purged there. I'll allow the extra door surfaces. That just makes it easier to clone the door around. Alright, now let's merge the rest of this stuff together. Almost. Yeah, let's just merge it all together. I can dig it. This stuff. I could do merge multiple. I could do attach multiple because I am adding everything. But I might as well just finish doing it like this. I'm almost done. There's a couple more spheres that I have not yet merged. Okay, yeah, that's everything, and I'll also merge the doors. Alright, now we're done attaching. I'm going to select every single surface in the entire thing. And I'm going to set every single surface to ID 1. Because then I'm going to assign one material to the whole thing. And now everything is sharing one material and I'm ready to UV unwrap. Okay, save. Now I go over here and I'm going to call this second room. And then I'm going to be lazy here and it's going to work out wonderfully, I bet. What I'm going to do is, yeah, I'm going to click render to texture, and I'm going to do a UV unwrap with 4 padding on channel 1, unwrap only. Wonderful. I'm going to open this up, and we got this ridiculous mess. But it's going to get better, because I'm going to click rotate, and that's my padding, and do that. That's not quite good, but it's better. What are those really long things about? Okay, so we're almost looking good, but I was talking about that multi-resolution bake, right? That means I need to grab these two things. And also probably all these. What are those? They are precisely what I was hoping they would be. They're the surrounding thing. So this humongous surrounding surface, I don't want this to be as large resolution as everything else. So I selected it all over here, and I'm simply going to scale it down in here. And then I should be able to uncheck rescale and tell it to just relay out my UVs. And there we go. Wonderful. Oops. Okay, let's see how this works out here. I'm going to close this, and I'm ready to do my first bake. And it looks like I'll have time to do this first bake here, as long as it doesn't take forever. I'll just click render here. That's what we're hoping for it to look like after the bake. So I'll save, and when we get into the WebWorlds SDK, it'll look like this. All wonderful and shiny. So let's see if we can do it. The moment of truth has come. We're going to bake this thing by going to rendering, baked texture, and I'm going to add a beauty map to it. I'll just output it to where it's at. For the resolution of this thing, I think I'm going to go with 2K. This is going to be a 2K bake. In the end, right now, I think I'm going to go with a 1024 bake so that it doesn't take forever. Maybe even less. Yeah, I'll go with a 512 bake. There's going to be weird issues with the 512 bake, but I want this to finish quickly so I can assign it and do more on the stream instead of watching the render. Second room beauty, padding 4. We're good. I click. First I save, and then I click bake. And here we go. Now it's not going to be instantaneous still, even though it's so low resolution. But it should be pretty quick. Once it gets going, it takes a minute to start rendering anything. But once it starts rendering something, it should be fairly quick here. While it's thinking about doing that, I'll just check out this other area here. You'll see that there's still some glitter, some sparkles going on here, right? You can fix that. That's noise. It's called noise in the render. You can fix that by using the advanced denoising post-processing tools that actually come with the software, like 3ds Max. When I go to the Arnold Renderer is the renderer that's producing that noise. It comes with a post-processing thing where you give it an image that it rendered, and it removes the noise. Kind of makes you wonder, why doesn't it just remove the noise automatically? But it's got that tool. But also I could just open this up in Photoshop and reduce the noise, and it's gonna work really well. This is undenoised, a high quality render. I could also make the quality of the render even higher, but I don't want to do that because this one already took me a couple hours to render, and if I increase the quality a whole bunch, it'll just take even longer. Okay, so here it is. Wonderful. It's rendering it out at an extremely low resolution of 512 by 512. At this low resolution, I'm going to see lots and lots of glitter, the sparkle anomaly, and I'm going to be seeing seams where you see the green lines on the geometry behind the render window there. I'll see black lines there. I'll fix that. This is just a test render. But when I do the real render, it's going to take hours, so I've got to do that off stream. A couple ways that I'm going to fix it is I'm going to turn up the resolution to 2K, and I'm going to change the background color. So the reason that you see seams when you have not enough resolution in your light map bake or any kind of bake is because the engine there's not enough resolution in your image to fill up the space on your screen. It's called a texel. It's the size of a texture's pixel taking up on your screen. Well, anyways, the end result is the engines have to upscale your image to fill the polygon on the screen, and it has to round to the nearest pixel when it does that. And if you don't have enough padding, or you don't have enough resolution, or a combination of those two things, then you're going to see whatever the background color is at the very edge of the texture seam where those green lines are. Because the background color is black, you see all of the void is black, I would see black seams. Now this is where I was getting to with all that. I can change that color. You can see right here it says BG and it sets it as black. You want to set that to the normalized color, like the average color of what you have in the texture. That way it's usually right. It's still not going to be all the way right, but it's usually right. That's good to have there for the edge cases where there's actual bugs in the bake. But you want to avoid having any of those bugs by turning your padding to a sufficient amount and having a sufficient amount of texture resolution to go along with that padding. What the padding does is instead of just having blackness or instead of just having the background color as soon as the texture ends on the UV sheet, it bleeds out those the final pixels along the edge out however big your padding value is there, that's the multiplier by it. So even if you do have that issue that I just described where it's going to be showing the adjacent pixels on the polygon, it's going to be the same pixels that are already on the polygon, so you can't really tell in those cases. All right, you're going to be able to tell right now when I assign this to here. Imagine if you weren't able to tell. You're not able to tell. I thought for sure you'd be able to tell because the resolution of that bake was, well, there we go. There we go. There's some of those anomalies I was talking about because those surfaces were so small there wasn't sufficient resolution. I might be able to get away with a 1024 by 1024 bake in this room for the final bake I'm seeing. I thought that I would need a 2K, but I might not need a 2K. This bake is looking good. There's no lighting happening. I mean, you can see the lighting position still, but the lighting's off. It's not calculating those lights. All the lighting you see is all baked into the texture. And as I do a more quality bake, you won't see so much anomalies like that on the spheres. But hey, this is looking good. And this, it looks a little drowned out here actually, because when I get it in, it's gonna be more like a self-illume. Like that. So it'll be about this vibrant. Cool. Okay. Here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the entire process of putting this into the editor. I might not push it to a parcel yet, but I want to get into the editor because I showed earlier how easy it was to just upload a new version of the model and then, hey, here's how it looks good. I could do the same thing for this. So instead of like starting the higher quality render right now, I could set everything up with this work in progress version of the model, with this low resolution bake and all that, build the whole scene out, and then easily later, after I go and I make the full resolution bake, I'll just drop the new GLB into the editor and it'll replace it just like it did here. That's wonderful for workflows because often, especially in team environments where it's not just one person doing the whole environment, you're going to be using placeholders. Somebody's going to make something that's like a quick render or just a boxed out version of something that's still blocky and has issues. And as the level designer in the Play Canvas editor here, you can't stop. You can't be hung up because the person making the models has to make the models. I mean, it's a process, right? So you got to be able to use these placeholders, and Play Canvas's ability here to let you swap out the assets for new versions of the assets without breaking your customizations and stuff. It is key. So let's do that. I'm going to click this thing and click File, Export. Selected. Second. I want to call it second room. Yeah, I think we're good. Export selected. Second room. Just wondering if the material is going to have the same properties as this part of it. Probably not. But let's just roll with it. Over here, I'm actually going to go into my asset tasks and tell it to create a folder when I upload this next GLB. This is the GLB I'm about to upload right here. Not bad, right? And that's a 512 by 512 texture, undenoised, unpost-processed. I'm impressed with how well that low resolution texture looks. I'm the type of person that is impressed with how well a low resolution texture can look. And there we go. It's going to be lined up right there. You'll be able to, after I knock the hole down in this wall, walk straight through there, straight through this spawn room into here. Is that centered? Yeah, it's centered. You walk straight from that spawn room into here, walk across the pathway without falling off because there's rails. Then you'll be able to go through this door and there'll be another area. Wonderful. Cool. Let's get the collision mesh. That's something I could do right now. The collision mesh. For the collision mesh, I'm going to clone this thing. This thing is what I'm going to clone, and this thing. Yeah. Detach. As a clone. I'll just name this Cole. And I do believe that's all that I have to do because I want this whole thing to be the collision mesh. Yeah, we're good. So there's Cole. So here's a trick. I don't want to separate this into two GLBs because that would make it two different asset requests when it loads at runtime. So what I'm going to do is export both of these things, Cole and second room, together. Let me think through this. I think I want to do this. I mean, there's multiple ways you can get the collision mesh in there. It doesn't have to be in the same GLB. I'm going to do it this way because I think it's going to be more optimal, but maybe it's not. Maybe instead of making a copy of the collision mesh of the outer room, I should just separate the pillars into their own thing, then I don't have any duplicates. That's probably the way that I should do this. So if I was going to do that, it would make, I'll probably do that in the end. I don't want to do that now because I'm going to rebake this. And as soon as I start breaking apart the thing that I baked, I'm going to have to recombine it when I bake it again. So I don't want to do that part yet. So I'll just roll with what I got here with what I was mentioning earlier. where if I upload the second room now, it'll have some Z fighting, but I'll fix it in a second. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why that looks like that, but we'll soon find out if it works. Here. I don't think it's working. Interesting. We got second room call, second room. Well, I got my renderer, and that's what I want. What is a container? Oh, a container! Was that there before? That's interesting. Okay. So it downloads the container, and then in the container, there's all these other things. So this might be fine. And I have a second room here, and I just want to assign the collision to it. So to do that, I'll say add physics, a collider, and a rigid body. And for the collider, I'll say to use an asset or a mesh, and I'll give it my coal, which is no pillars, just the walkway. And now I take my spawn point. Oh wait, not yet. I gotta move my second room to be over here. And then to test, my spawn point, I'll move it over here. I'll be facing the wrong way, but that's okay because I just think it works. I'll probably need to adjust the material a little bit to be shiny, but here we are, and I'm colliding. And the material is a little shiny. I could see it's got a little shininess to it. I might want to adjust it to be as shiny as the other room. But we're good, and we're walking through this area wonderfully. No problems. Didn't have to do any kind of manual colliders. Didn't have to UV unwrap. That's huge. I mean, when I clicked automatic unwrap and it just did it, I know I got errors right here, but I'm hoping that all those errors get sorted out as I do the full quality bake here. And it was just really, really easy to make this. I made it fast. The whole thing in about an hour and a half, actually. Okay, so next up is the bake. And I need to start the bake, but I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to prepare the bake, then I'm going to start the big fat bake. Might end the stream 10-15 minutes early as the bake starts, but there's some steps that I have to do before the final bake. So let's do that. Awesome. And the other room is here too. It's right on the other side of this wall, even though I can't get to it right now. After I put this web world on a parcel in Somnium Web, you'll be able to do fly mode, fly through the wall, and get to that other area. Or photo mode to fly through the wall, at least. Okay, let's do that. Let's go over here and get prepared to do the last bake. So as I prepare to do the last bake, I'll hide colliders. I'll just go into here and unplug this thing. Okay, and that should be ready to go. So now it's rendering not the bake, it's rendering the actual lighting. And that's why it looks real good there, but it will look real good for us too. Here's a couple things that I forgot to do. I forgot to go into here and set up smoothing groups, and I should probably do this before I do the bake, the unwrap. So I'm going to delete my automatic unwrap. Do I dare? Actually, I'll just turn it off. I kind of want to delete it. Okay, I'll save and then I'll delete it. I'll save and then I'll delete the unwrap. Okay. Because I want to go into here and assign smoothing groups. I forgot to assign smoothing groups. So I'm going to select absolutely everything in here and then go to smoothing groups, clear all, auto smooth. Auto smooth works for me. Now I'm thinking that applying the smoothing groups before doing the automatic unwrap might influence the automatic unwrap. That's why I cleared the automatic unwrap first. So let's see if that's true. Bake to texture, we want 4 padding. Unwrap to channel 1, unwrap only. Okay. It looks about the same to me. Then when I go over here, it's about the same. So then I click that. And then I selected all the things that were part of the wrapper room. I believe was all of those. Yeah. And then I scaled those down to give myself some more room on my UV sheet. So by scaling it down, I'm making it take up less room on the UV sheet, which results in lower resolution. That undid everything. This one. Perfect. Okay. I mean, there's still some tiny little areas in here, but I did a 512 bake last time. Hopefully that switched itself out. This has me a little concerned. I'm not sure if that's going to bake correctly. Did it bake correctly? I mean, it baked correctly in here, so maybe I don't need to worry about that. And it exported correctly. Okay, so now I have my smoothing groups set up. Smoothing groups are important. I have my resolution, my multi-resolution thing set up. That's where I scaled down the gigantic surfaces to take up less texture space, and which opens up texture space for all these other surfaces. I did automatic unwrap. Now I can only hope that I don't have anomalies. The anomalies such as that. That's an anomaly right there. And it's just because of the lack of resolution. So hopefully that's all sorted out. I'm about ready to do the big fat bake here. Let's save this. Everything is good to go. All systems go. Almost. Okay, so now in this next step is going to be a little bit of 3ds Max specific things. When I go to rendering and I go to bake to texture, I'm going to set my image size now. I'm going to go all the way up to 2K. This is going to be a serious render. I'm going to do 4 on the padding. I didn't see any seams, very many seams before, so I don't need to adjust the padding too much. The background color, I want to set to be like that average color I was talking about. So we'll go with a gray, but not a black. We'll go with that color right there. Okay. PNG. Now, here's the thing. To make iterations easier, and this is a 3ds Max specific thing, I'm just going to tell it to create a special material with this thing. I'm going to tell it to don't output to the file only, output to create a new material. That is a GLTF material. And that puts this output into the emission map. Okay. And then I'm ready to save. And I'm ready to click bake, y'all. Ready to click bake. So it's happening. It's happening right now. I'm clicking it. Let me click X first. Make sure I'm saved. Bake texture. The big fat bake. It's coming right now. I'll overwrite the previous bake. And this bake shall be glorious, but it's going to take a couple hours. So, wrapping up the stream here, what we did was we made a second room attached to the first room. I'll take a screenshot or two for the archives. Actually, it's to tweet. Because if I can't get the thing onto the parcel, I want to at least show what it is doing. So here, I'll take a screenshot of that. Color whip. Oh yeah, I could take a shot from actually in here. I'll just take a shot from the editor right here. Trying to get that perfect shot for my screenshot. Perfect angle. There, that'll do. It's too late for me to render out a screenshot from 3ds Max because 3ds Max is working. Hey, that's not too bad. How long am I going to estimate? I think this is only going to take like an hour. I don't know. That was a pretty rough, off-the-cuff estimate there, but we already got like the first little cube going. Cool. All right, so I'm probably just going to hold on to my tweet then, and I'll send out the tweet afterwards after I get that new bake into there. But not going to make the, not just going to stream dead air while the bake's going on. Y'all see how it's going down. You'll have to check the Twitter to see how the baked cake turned out. But I'm highly confident that it will turn out at least as well as this bake did. But the big question will be, are these things gone? And the other big question is, you see how this doesn't look good? That has to do with the smoothing groups. I hope. We'll see if they go away. That's either a smoothing group problem or a resolution problem. It's probably a resolution problem. So the higher resolution bake that I'm doing right now might fix that too. So, once again, I'm SM SithLord. This is the weekly build stream happening right here on the streaming channels of Somnium. Same time every week, by the way, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here. This is something I started last week with this room as mostly just a baking experiment. And then we're moving on to this room. And as I mentioned earlier, this door will lead to an area here for like a gathering area or a stage. And then maybe 1 or 2 more little areas apart from that. And the wonderful thing is, this entire room is one draw call. And then this entire room is one draw call. Could I make them both just one draw call together? I could, actually. If I had a 4K texture instead of a 2K and a 1024, then they would be one draw call. Now the thing is, you don't necessarily want your entire environment to be in one draw call, especially if you have actual zones like I have here. Because like if you're in this room and that door is closed, you do not need the room on the other side to be in memory. You don't need it to be rendering. And you don't need it to be in memory. That's the bigger thing here. Because even if you weren't rendering it, like you had the mesh hidden, if you baked everything onto one texture, you still need that huge texture in VRAM for when it's rendering this part. So depending on how your viz blocking is, in other words, what's visible from one area to the next, that's how you should set up your Atlas chunks. Because then you can hide all these things that aren't visible and they can be completely hidden, and they don't have to take up memory in VRAM, especially if you're doing procedural loading where it's not going to load what's on the other side of the door until you walk through it. The only way that's going to work is if the assets aren't shared. So you would need to have that clear distinction between zones. So the moral of that story is, yeah, you want to have as few draw calls as possible for each area, but you don't necessarily want to have a gigantic model all in one draw call, because that's going to cause other problems. You still want to break up your environment, even when you're doing bakes like this. Okay, I like these colors. I have high confidence it's going to turn out well. I'll be posting the results of this bake here to Twitter once it's finished and I get it in there. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. I will see you next time. If you have any questions, you can jump into the Somnium Space Discord. There's a web channel in there where you can ask web-specific questions, or you can just hit up general. There's a lot of people talking in there that will engage with you. So, peace out, and I'll see you in 1 week. Well, I'll see you on Twitter in a few minutes after this is done, but then I'll see you on camera again next week. Later on.